Mgtow Millionaire, the thought that cried foul. Welcome back to my little corner of the web. This is Focus Truman, your host, back with another video. Today we're going to touch on the subject of a story that exemplifies how a normal man, without that many resources or anything, managed to keep a woman under thumb or in check. Is might find some harsh comments or opinions, especially from females if they listen to this, but here it goes. There was once in one of the lowest countries in South America with the lowest level of economic growth. I'll let you figure out which country that was. Where they have the tendency, at least women in high positions because of their family, more than their own ability to make money by inheritance and the families that they belong to. They tend to marry foreigners, many and most of the time. And this one girl belonging to one of the big families in one of these small countries married a Argentinian fellow. Standard guy. He looked good, he had a good physique. I actually knew him because when I was working back then in those days, I was helping him set up a business for him and then his wife. So he had the looks, and he was a pretty much a very social guy with some level of smarts, book smart. Pretty much caught up into what was hip, what was modern, what was cool, and all that stuff. A guy that was basically extremely hip and on the wave of everything that's happening socially and economically around the world. He spoke several languages, but he was basically a nobody when it came to power and money. Just a normal guy with good looks and a good physique, and was from a foreign country to the country that he was in, and that girl took him in and she married him. And of course, years passed and I met him, helping him, as I said before, setting up the business that the family wanted to set up for him, because as husband of the girl, the rest of the family was going to support him to rise to a level that was acceptable to her because she chose him. After all, you may call that an innocent play by the girl, by the lady, whatever, of falling in love with someone, or basically a man tricking a woman into doing what women do to men, raising up into society and everything. But funny things happen when you get power and you get money when you had none before. Sometimes you lose yourself. And this fellow, while I was working with him, I noticed, because I was setting up the business and doing several setups, accounting, managerial setups, hiring people, putting in all the tech that was required back in those days, everything that was technological advancements, transmission of data and everything through the internet, that was fairly new, so I was in charge of a lot of things. So I spent a lot of time around him during those times, and the setup of such a thing will take about 6 months to a year. That was actually really good money. And during that time, I just watched what he did with the locals. When I say local, I'm talking about the place where the several places where they had a store or a restaurant which they managed, because she was part of a rich family. As a rich family, they were creating a brand for them. The family was creating a brand for the two of them, this guy and the lady that were married to. They were creating a brand with several businesses tied together in the country they were with. So I was setting up several stores, and I was fairly involved with him all the time. And one of the things I saw during that time, that he spent a lot of money. He was very bad at managing the money. He made a couple of those businesses that was part of the brand that was being created go bankrupt. And we had to rework everything and rehire people and rebudget everything. And you know how complicated sometimes these things get. But throughout that time, after 5 years of being married, by the time I got there about when he was in his 4th year of marriage, and through the year I was with him, I saw him bankrupt this business, drink a lot. He invited me a couple of times and I went with him. I'm trying to keep it in good terms and not fighting anybody here. I also noticed that he also had other girls on the side. Other girls on the side. It's stupid of him, I say, because it's a powerful family. And he has other girls besides his wife. As I'm thinking, well, yeah, his wife is not that great looking, but she's not ugly, but she's, put it into numerical terms, he will be a 9 physically, and she will be a 6 or 5, physically speaking. As harsh as that sounds, because we men care more about what's within us, and we would like to be treated like that, but I'm just putting in practical terms for the story. So he had side dishes. He had sex with other women, and he overspent the money that came into the businesses, so he put them into the bankrupt mode. Terrible. All those things forced the hand of the girl and that family to divorcing him. Of course, this was something that he didn't like, because that means he was getting no more money out of the rich lifestyle that he had earned or he had acquired. Let's put it that way. And doing that to a big-time family in South America, when you are from another country, South America. I'm saying that he was from Argentina, so to give you an idea, but the country I'm speaking about is not Argentina, and I'll leave it at that. This family was angry at him. But funny enough, and smart enough maybe, this guy, I noticed one day that we were closing up shop in one of those bankrupt businesses, and I was gonna shut down shop, and I had to explain to him, this is what's happening, this is how much money you have lost. In a couple of weeks we're gonna basically close down operations here, it's not really working, we're gonna reopen it some other way, you have to look for a better management position and everything. And those days I didn't know that he was gonna get divorced pretty soon or whatever was happening, but he was there and got to the office, and he was completely drunk, out of his mind. And being drunk and out of his mind, he started talking about the problems that he had in his marriage, and that's how I find out what I'm telling you now. The trick is that he just opened his phone and showed me pictures and some compromising stuff, but just a couple, and a video and a couple of stuff. And I saw that, okay, those two things are very much not good if they ever get out about what his wife was doing. Because funny thing is, as much as he was doing something, she was doing something too. And he had proof, video, text, photos of all that shit. Incredible. So when divorce came around, basically he left the country, because you can get divorced in any country through lawyers, you don't need to be there. So he had enough money that he had taken from the businesses and other things and investments through those 5 years, so he was set up. And I learned about this later, because he still had to work with the family to set up all those businesses even if he was gone. So I started to dealing with her. So I always had to be around a depressed woman all the time, crying and saying a bunch of stuff. And I realized that she was mad and constantly calling a lawyer, and then that lawyer was an American. And she was talking English. She didn't know I spoke English too. I spoke several languages, but she didn't know I spoke several languages. So she spoke pretty openly on the phone next to me, complaining at everything that he had done and what was happening. And the bottom line is that, as I told you before about what he had in his phone, he showed me that one night that he got drunk. He said he had dirt on her. And she was so scared about what would happen to her social life and the way she lived in the country that she was in, that if everything that was in it got public, she would be destroyed. And they decided to pay him millions of dollars to keep him shut up and to keep everything under wraps, instead of fighting him anymore, just to protect the well-being and the reputation of the woman that we're talking about in this video. Incredible. And that's when I realized that what my boss has always taught me, it was greatly true, This is a guy that had no power, but had dirt on you. Dirt that will destroy your reputation. And that's how I understood that it's far more important to a woman, public perception and reputation in front of people, than anything else. They can be liars, they can be killers, they can be whores, they can be anything, they can be terrible mothers. But if their public reputation gets tarnished, then it gets serious, and that's more important than anything else. That guy, I saw it on the news one day, checking on the internet, on the newspaper of the country that this happened. He got paid about $3 million of hush money. He just walked away. That's the example for today, for the video that we posted on Sunday, on how men without any power get leverage and pull something out. See? Being able to create fear in somebody doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be powerful, have a gun, or anything. The only thing you need to do is a samurai style technique. A sword is far more dangerous when it's in the shit, when it's basically not used, than when it's out in the open. A gun is far more dangerous before it's fired. The threat of harm is far more important than actually harming. That's the story for today. And that's a Thot that used to sleep around too and wanted to get rid of somebody she wrongly married. This is the story of what women do to men. Doesn't mean that men can't do it to women. I'm not saying what's wrong or what's right. I'm just telling you that fear, as we've been talking about, has different perspectives and different ways. Don't let anybody do this to you. Technology today is dangerous. Always watch your back, cover your sixes. Thank you to my subscribers. We'll be back tomorrow with another video. Everybody take care. This is fucking Truman signing off.